So, it looks like just when we thought we got all the information that we needed coming out of the Starfield Direct Showcase, Todd Howards recently sat down and spoke with IGN's Ryan McCaffrey in an interview where he discussed not only the future of Starfield, the Elder Scrolls 6 and a time frame for a Fallout 5, but also one of the main talking points coming out of that interview was Starfield's initial release and how it will be locked to certain frame rates such as 30 FPS. So let's take a closer look and dive right on in. Cutting right to the chase, Todd Howards was asked the question that considering Bethesda's last major release with Redfall, that gamers were a little bit more than surprised that given Redfall's release and that it didn't perform to the expectations and standards that current consoles are capable of running, what would the experience look like for people once Starfield releases? And well, this is what he had to say.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. I think it'll come as no surprise given our previous games. What we go for are always these huge open worlds, fully dynamic, hyper detail where anything can happen. And we do want to do that. It's 4K on the X, it's 1440 on the S. We do lock it at 30 because we want that fidelity. We want all that stuff. We don't want to sacrifice any of it. Fortunately, in this one, we've got it running great. It's often running way above that. Sometimes it's 60. But on the consoles, we do lock it because we prefer the consistency.
Yeah.
Right? You're not even thinking about it. And we don't ever want to sacrifice that experience that makes our games, really, really special. So feels great. We're really happy with how it feels, even in the heat of battle. And we need that headroom because, in our games, really anything can happen.
So, as we can see, Starfield on console, regardless if you'll be playing on Xbox Series X or Series S, will be locked at 30 FPS, and depending on which one you play, will display in 4K or 1440p. However, as he mentioned during that clip, that at sometimes when it was running well, it would sometimes run at 60 FPS, but considering that the game is locked at 30 FPS on console, this was probably more in relation to PC. Now, it's understandable during the footage that we actually seen of the game during the Starfield Direct Showcase, the game quite clearly was running at 30 FPS, and as Todd Howards mentioned, one of the main reasons they decided to go this route was that they didn't want to sacrifice anything in regards to fidelity and performance, as they prefer consistency when it comes to the experience that they want people to feel while playing their games. He does go on to mention that given that Starfield was initially set to release back in November of last year, but was then pushed back to September of this year, that with the extra time that they've had, it's given them the time to really address things like bugs and improve upon things like UI and much more.
Well, look, it's just such a big game. And as you do these things, you do your best as it comes to release dates and projections. But given the scale of it, if one thing is off that by a percentage, that can escalate quickly to more time. And we've really spent it most of this year playing the game a ton, over and over, and making sure that it's balanced, it's as fun as possible, honing systems and interface. Obviously, bug fixing and all of those things, performance, and really getting it where we're really, really sure and solid on what we're putting out there for everybody.
So, hopefully, given that with some of Bethesda's games where they've experienced post-launch bugs and issues, which we won't get into, but hopefully going off this statement that when Starfield initially releases, and with the time that they've had, hopefully a lot of those issues that they might have had roughly 6 or 7 months ago won't actually make their way into the game, but I'm sure time will tell. Moving on from that, he does go on to mention that when asked about other studios coming in to help with combat in Starfield, he mentions that they did receive some help from id Software, the company that makes Doom, on features like graphics and motion blur.
They did not help us with the well, first of all, I'd say, being in the company, knowing the folks at id Software for a long time, I'm like a huge Doom fan.
I mean, they know what they're doing. That's why I ask.
They're the absolute best. Doom Eternal is one of my favorite games. And so with Fallout 4, they did give us a few tips on how to handle combat.
Yeah.
But in Starfield, we redid the combat ourselves, and it's really feeling great. But id has helped us really more on the graphic. They've helped us on the graphics side.
Oh, nice.
So we get into motion blur. It's just how the game feels smooth. Some other things that they do in id Tech that we wanted to bring over into Creation Engine 2, and they helped us do that. And it's great.
So, it's looking like with the help of id Software on some of the combat features, that we will see some of the tech that id are currently using, that Bethesda have brought over into the Creation Engine 2, which honestly sounds extremely interesting, and going off of some of the footage that we've seen from the Direct Showcase, does look very impressive. Lastly, when asked about the possibility of post-release content for Starfield, such as DLCs, story content, this is what he had to say.
Right, it's a great question. I mean, look, we're going to be doing a lot of add-on content for Starfield. We love doing it. Our fans love it. We will have announced sort of the first one that's going to, we're going to do a story expansion pack that's going to be coming. Our plan is to do things of varying sizes, and we've done a lot of that in our previous games. So it's something that we really like doing, our fans like. And so despite the size of the game, there's still things we want to add as far as features in the future and stories and things like that. So we think this is going to gain, hopefully, that's going to continue for a long time that way.
In my own opinion, this sounds like, quite honestly, and given the sheer size and scope of the game already, that Starfield for many years to come will probably be one of the biggest games of the decade. But overall, given some of the key talking points to come out of that interview, I have to say that even though some may be disappointed that Starfield won't run above 30 FPS on console, but give it a few weeks and once mods come out there will more than likely be a 60 FPS mod made available. Because even now over on Fallout 4 on console, you can quite literally download a 60 FPS mod. That Starfield will probably see a similar mod made available, and that's hoping that on console mod support is 100% made available, and apparently it will be, but a lot can happen between now and release. But again, I wouldn't be too disappointed, and in my own opinion, I have to somewhat stand on the side that given that the sheer size and scale of the game, 30 FPS is somewhat understandable. But there you have it, Starfield locked at 30 FPS on console. Let me know below in the comments what you think about this decision, and what your thoughts were on some of the comments mentioned by Todd Howards in that interview. I'll make sure to leave a link to that interview below, but we'll have more videos on the way covering a lot of the features of Starfield that were covered during the Starfield Direct showcase. So if you don't want to miss out and want to be kept up to date with everything Starfield related, consider clicking that subscribe button and turning on that bell notification button. And if you'd like to support me and enjoyed the video, consider dropping a like. And before we head on out, I want to say a big thank you to our channel members for your continued support and dedication to the channel, and of course to all of our subscribers who've helped the channel to grow. If you're also looking at picking up some Bethesda theme items over on the Bethesda store, you can use my creator code BTPineapple062 to receive 20% off of your purchases at checkout. And if you'd like to support the channel a little bit more personally, consider checking out my merch store, which has an array of t-shirts, mugs, prints, and other pineapple themed merch, which I'll leave in a link in the description of this video. And lastly, to you, the viewer, the person who stumbled upon this video, thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed. Until next time, folks, stay safe out there in the galaxy. Welcome to Vault 93, and I'll catch you all in the next video.